Okay, so now we're going to draw our floor plan on SketchUp. Um, so some of y'all who used SketchUp last year, this is a completely new version because it's an online version. It does have exactly the same, almost exactly the same functions, but they're in a completely different place. The symbols are the same, so they should look really familiar. I don't know why they would do this, but it does not look the same at all. So what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna start our floor plan. So if I sound confused through any of this recording, it's because this is brand new to me. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna click this little orbit tool down here, and I want to click this one. I guess when you click it, all of them pop up, but I still just want the orbit tool, so I'm going to click it. And this will allow me to orbit around SketchUp. So the orbit, what happens is you see all your axes. So there's a red axis, a green axis, and a blue axis. And I didn't probably explain this as much as I did last year, but now that y'all are on your own and I'm not there to help you, this is going to be really important to know because this is where your mistakes are going to come from. The red axis and the green axis are horizontal axis. So you know how I say line up your triangle at the edge of your paper to get a straight line 90 degrees? This is kind of like that. You need to stay on your axis when you draw a horizontal line, and you also need to stay on an axis when you draw a vertical line. So the green and the red do indicate the horizontal, and the blue indicates the vertical. So something that I learned in college was the green, it's horizontal and it's like grass. So that's like kind of your ground. The blue goes up and down. So I guess up is the sky, so it would be blue. Is the vertical. Red is just the same way as the green. So there's nothing cool to remember that one by. But anyways, our selection tool is right here. It's the little white button. I'm going to select the lady and I'm just going to move her out of the way because I'm going to start my drawing like over here in this quadrant. So I selected her. I do want to move her, and my move tool is right here. And I just want to move her. So I'm going to select her and I'm just going to move her over. So you see how I clicked her and I can move her in the direction of the axis. See, now she would go up and stuff. When you want to go like this way, I'm not clicking anything, I'm just kind of moving my mouse in the direction that I want. So if I want in the direction of the red axis this way, I would just move my mouse this way. Obviously I can move her anywhere I want, but notice how it's not highlighted red until I'm like parallel to that red line. And I could also move her this way and it turns green, but it doesn't highlight green until I'm on the green axis and it's parallel. I can also go up. This one's a little more difficult on the blue axis, but I have to go in the direction up, and it needs to be parallel to the blue line. So here's just an example. Don't do this. Actually, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to move her. I'll move her over there on the red axis. Now what I want to show you before we start drawing our plans is we want to get in a position to where it would just be 2D because we're going to redraw our floor plan. So this little scenes button over here, you want to click it and all these houses will pop up. We just want to see the top because when you're looking at a floor plan, you just see the top. And we want to click this little parallel projection cube Parallel projection just takes us completely straight on top, 0 angle, which is what we want. So now we really only see our red and our green axis. Like I said, no angle, so our lady is completely flat because there's no angle. We can't see the side of her. She was just a 2D lady. So to begin our floor plan, we're going to start with our line, which is the pencil, and we're going to select just pencil. And we're going to start at the origin of SketchUp. I want to click. This is going to be our first line. And I'm going to go along the green axis. You can kind of see, I'm going to go along the green axis, well, 50 feet. I'm going to start with our 50-foot line. Notice how the line obviously will go anywhere, but we have to go on the green axis. So it's going to be kind of hidden. I guess you know you're doing it correct if you don't really see anything. So I'm going to go in the direction of the green axis, it says on green axis, and I'm going to type on my keyboard 50 feet. So that's 50. Here now you can see it, it shows you the length. I'm going to click 50 feet. And our feet is just the one little tick, and I'm going to click enter. Okay, I have not clicked anything on my mouse, and it took me to 50 feet. Now what I want to do is I want to turn, because now we have to draw our 31-foot line. And notice how I'm going in the direction of the red, and it's highlighted red, so that means it's good. And now I want to type 31 feet, enter. I have not clicked anything on my mouse. And then I want to go back down on my green axis, 50 feet, enter. And I could obviously type 31 feet, or I could just connect it, and this is going to be my first click, click. I'm going to grab the orbit tool. And now you can see how it's a surface. So this is preference. I only like going in parallel projection, which was this 3D little cube over here, when I'm working on a floor plan. If I'm not working on a floor plan and I'm looking at 3D, I would prefer to see in perspective view. So these are just different types of views. So I'm going to click back to my perspective view, and now I could see this better in my opinion. So anyway, this is 50 by 31 by 50 by 31, and it creates a surface for us because we enclosed all our lines. Okay, moving forward, now we want to do our wall thicknesses. So we have the outline, and I'm going to be looking for offset. Okay, so offset, you have to come click this little push-pull button, and then offset will be located right here. I'm going to click offset, and notice how I'm just hovering over and it's already selecting this surface. So this is the surface I want to offset, and what offset means, it's going to offset the lines. So the surface, the bounding lines are all the, well, are the 4 edges. Those are the bounding lines of that surface. So I'm going to select it, and you know, I could do all this, but I need to make sure this is inside, because if I do it outside, then our building would be bigger than 50 by 31. It would be making the exterior thickness outside when we want to make it inside. So I haven't clicked anything. Let's just make sure this little rectangle, I don't care if it's right here or right here or like right here, It just needs to be inside. And I'm just hovering. I need to type 6 feet, which is the one little tick, and I'm going to click enter. Oh, no, sorry. I'm going to type 6 inches. A wall is not 6 feet. So redo. If I ever need to redo this little back button, okay, so like this was wrong, this little back button will take you back, or you could hit Control Z on your keyboard. So back to what we're going to do. Make sure my little rectangle is inside. I'm going to type 6 feet, shift, and then the little thing, click enter. Now we have our exterior walls at 6 feet. And we can make sure it's 6 feet with our measuring tape. Zoom in. I want to check from this point to this point, and it says it's 6 inches. I'm sorry if I said 6 feet again, I meant 6 inches. And just escape out of that. Okay. Now I want to proceed with making the rest of the floor plan, which is my interior wall. So I'm going to go back to this view and parallel projection. And just think of it like how you manually drew it. What's next? We did the kitchen wall next. So the kitchen from this point to over here was 11 feet 8 inches. Oops. It was 11 feet 8 inches. So I'm going to click this point. I'm going to go up in the direction I need it to go. And I'm going to type 11 feet 8 inches. So my mouse isn't like going anywhere. So where is the line? If you hover along this line, all I am hovering along this line, a little green point will pop up, and that's the end point of the line. So I'm going to click, and we're going to go over just all the way, because remember I had said that we didn't know the difference. Well, we do because we know this side, but without doing any math, I think this is the best way. We're just going to take it all the way over, and then when we bring this line over, we know where it cuts off. How do we verify that this is 11 feet 8 inches? We can go measure with our measuring tape. Let's do this point all the way to this point, and it's 11 feet 8 inches. Okay, now I'm gonna go draw this other side. I'm gonna need my pencil tool. And this one was 15 feet 8 inches from this specific point. So I'm gonna click, go in the correct direction. I'm gonna type 15 feet 8 inches on my keyboard, and I'm gonna click enter. I don't know where it landed. So it looks like it's right here. So I'm gonna click, I'm gonna bring it all the way over, and it goes all the way to the other side of the house. So right here. Now let's verify that that is 15 feet 8 inches. That is correct. I don't need this line anymore because I found the intersection that I was supposed to be at. So I can get my selection tool, click it. Oh. So make sure you actually click a line, not the surface, because if I hit delete, it's going to delete the surface. We don't want to delete the surface, we want to delete the line. So click the line will be highlighted blue, and I click delete on my keyboard and it'll be gone. Okay, next. Next, what we want to do is make the thickness of this wall. So I'm going to get my pencil tool, and I'm going to go this way, not this way, because according to the plan, it said to go this way. So I'm going to go 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches, 4.5, 4.5, and the inches. Click enter. and it'll be right there. And bring it all the way over to this end. Click. Okay, notice how this line goes into this wall. We'll take care of that later. Let's just leave it alone for now. Now what we want to do is start drawing these walls over here for our bedroom 2 and our air vent and our toilet. So starting from this point, this inside point, I'm going to click and I'm going to go over in that direction 17 feet 8 inches. I'm going to click and go over on my red axis and stop it over here. Okay. Now I do need to draw this wall thickness because our 10 feet does not start until after this wall thickness. So from this point, I'm going to go in this direction like it shows on the plan, and I'm going to type 4.5 because that's what the plan says our wall thickness is. Shift inches, enter, and the little endpoints right here. And I'm going to go over on my red axis and click. Now, from this specific point, I can go over 10 feet, 10 feet. I'll look for the endpoint right here. And on the red axis, click. And I do need to make this wall thickness 4.5 inches. And on the red axis, click. So we could go ahead and verify all our measurements real quick from this point to this point. 17 feet 8 inches, good. Escape from this point to this point, 4.5 inches, good. Escape. 10 feet, escape. 4.5, escape, good. Okay, next, just to get it out of the way, let's just finish up this wall thickness. So 4.5. Okay, this is important. Notice how we already drew 2 walls. SketchUp starts to remember or like pick up what you're actually drawing. So this little like triangle, where is it? I don't know if it'll come up again. There we go. This little thing is telling me it's 4.5 inches, and all I did was hover. So it's starting to know that I just want 4.5 inches, so I'm just going to click it. Oops, that was too far. Click it, and then go over. If you don't trust it, and you think you still need to type 4.5, go for it. If not, you know, you'll eventually get used to it, but we can measure just to make sure. So let's talk about surfaces real quick. I'm going to grab my selection tool. So a surface, so all these lines have now made little like parts in our big rectangle. So notice how this surface is outlined by all these lines. This surface is outlined by these, and you know, so on. But if we click this one, well, it's outlined by this part. And also, you know, this one and this one. Oops. And you know it's a surface when it has these little dots, and you know you're clicking a line when it's just highlighted solid blue on a line. And then look at how small this little line is and this little line is. So this is why it's important that we're going to delete these. But I just wanted to show you all the difference between a surface and a line. This really is important when we start getting to 3D. You want to have as little excess lines as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to delete all these little lines because technically you don't really need it. So all I do is select it, it'll highlight blue, and I click delete on my keyboard. I'm just going to do it to the interior walls. I would not do it from an interior wall moving to an exterior wall, and I will show you why in a bit. So I just did these right here. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. Now what I want to do is delete these surfaces. Why I'm going to delete these is because I'm trying to make the walls. I don't want anything else. So what's going to happen, and do not do this, I'm just going to show you for example purposes. What's going to happen is I'm going to end up bringing up these walls. This is what's going to happen. Don't do this. And this is going to kind of look like the floor. And I just want to do my walls right now. So this is why we're going to delete these surfaces. So you go back on the top view and you could just click your selection tool and make sure that surface is selected and hit delete. Surface selected, delete, and do it for the rest. And now we just have our outline of our walls. Because I just wanted my walls, I want to click, get this little box around, and let go. And that's going to select all my walls. What we're going to do is right click and group them together. Make group. So what that does now is it's one item versus, you know, a bunch of little lines and stuff. A bunch of little lines. Because I could have clicked just this one and it should have just highlighted that line, but now that it's a group, it highlighted the entire thing. The purpose of groups is because there's going to be so many elements to this house that it gets really confusing. Just trust me that you have to make these groups. Okay, so now this is one group, and I'm going to right click, and we're going to click Entity Info. So the Entity Info will come up over here. It's telling me that it's a group, and it's telling me that it's untagged. Well, untagged means, well, I'm going to have to show you. Okay, so untagged means that if you click the little tags down here, the little tags button, it'll show you what your tags are. Tags are just basically like layers of a house. I don't really know how to explain it. It's just something unique to architecture in this program. But what we want to do is have different layers. So like a layer would be like a certain section. So like a layer would be walls, a layer would be windows, a layer would be doors, a layer would be the floor, a layer would be furniture. So just things to categorize. So I'm going to add a tag right now and I'm going to rename it walls. And all I did was hit the plus button and I'm going to type walls. So here are the tags. Now I could come select this again and it's showing me that the entity info is still untagged and I could select it and I want to move it to walls. So now this is tagged, this entire group is tagged as walls. And what's important is I click the eye. This is how you'll know if you tagged it correctly. You could click the little eyeball right here and it'll go off because technically it's saying I don't want to see this group, this walls. I don't want to see anything located under walls. So to bring it back, I just click the eyeball and it will be there. Okay. Moving forward. I'm going to go at a different angle. I am going to want to bring these walls up now. So I'm going to get my selection tool. It won't let me bring up anything because remember our exterior walls are different than our interior walls. In order to edit a group, So I obviously want to bring the walls up. In order to bring it up, I have to double click into it or I cannot edit it. So I'm going to double click, and now I have access to edit it, and I will only edit this. It will only allow me to edit things in the group, not outside of the group. So if I wanted to move this lady, I cannot because I am focusing on this group. So you practice clicking inside and outside of the group, I guess, right now. Double click out. Now I can select the lady, or I can select these walls. Double click in, and now I only have access to the walls. What I'm going to do now is actually use the push and pull tool. And I want to make sure I'm going to be highlighting the surface area for the exterior walls. Notice how it only does the exterior and not the interior, because these little lines right here separates it. It's telling me that it's two different pieces. Notice how if I were, do not do this, this is an example. If I were to delete this line, I went to the push and pull, now it's part of that surface because there's not any line indicating that that belongs to a certain part. Okay, so please just highlight the exterior wall, click, and go in the up direction. The up direction is the blue axis. We're going to go up, and we want to make this wall 8 feet tall. 8 feet is the average height for a house. So I'm going to type 8 feet, enter, and it makes it 8 feet. These interior walls are also 8 feet, so I'm going to hover over them, click. Notice how it will go down, so do not go in the down direction. You need to go in the up direction. You can go up 8 feet. You could type 8 feet or something. Now that can save you some time is you already have something at the height of 8 feet, which is the exterior walls. If you kind of hover your mouse over the exterior wall, it'll set the interior walls the same height as whatever you hovered over. That definitely saves time, but let's say you accidentally made the exterior walls 9 feet. Now your entire building would be incorrect because you said you wanted it the same height as this. So it's really good to make sure you measure things, because I mean it happens. I could have accidentally made this 9 feet, but thanks to the measurement tool, it's confirming that it's 8 feet. There we go, there's our walls. I can now double click out of this group and notice how it's just still one group. If I click the little eyeball, they all go away. And if I click the little eyeball back, it's still here. Okay, well, that's it. I'm going to stop this video, and then on the next one, we'll probably do doors and windows.